Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
And the time is now 7:45 here in St. Vincent and Grenadines, soon to be 7:46, and we are back with Activated Mornings this morning. You're listening to yours truly, Ari, and with me in studio is Christal. So we want to get into this. Over the weekend, there was a video being circulated, not a video, a photo, sorry, being circulated of the engine, allegedly a photo of the engine of the boat. Mm-hmm. The plane, sorry, why is it boat? Mm-hmm. The plane that went down off the coast of Piti Nevis and Bequia. And it has been the topic of speculation that there was issues with the plane prior to take off on Thursday, was it?
Thursday midday.
Thursday midday. So there was a post on Facebook by a D. Eric Williams, and there's a photo, and there's the photo itself has a caption attached to it, which says, "I am deeply saddened."
Actually, pause. I think somebody reshared it and added that caption.
Oh,
because when you go onto his profile,
you won't see it.
It doesn't have the caption on it.
Okay,
so somebody else added that and put that up as a WhatsApp status
or Instagram status
or something,
if possible.
But it's not. But
thank you very much,
caption.
Christal.
You're welcome.
But it says, "I am deeply saddened by this. This man has been operating illegal charters for years. Accidents happen, but one should never, under any circumstances, cut corners where safety is concerned." And I'm glad that you corrected me there, Christal, because funny enough, while we were discussing the issue last week, someone did contact me and they said they believe that there was issues that the pilot knew about, but they don't have any proof to back up this claim. And then now D. Eric Williams have posted on Facebook, "As an aviation professional and aircraft owner, I am always saddened when our fellow aviators or airmen is involved in an aircraft accident. My heartfelt sympathies goes out to the families and friends of those who perished. The aviation community is a close-knit one, and even though it's so vast, yet it's small because we network and know so many people in the industry. My 30 plus years maintaining aircraft has taught me a lot, and I've seen it all. A few of the keys to a safe operation are: don't cut corners, leave nothing to chance, defer to the professionals. No one knows it all. Always get a second opinion on critical repairs. A close friend of mine who is an IA and have assisted Mr. Sachs with maintenance in the past shared with me information that sadly caused us not to be surprised about the incident. May they rest in peace." And it makes me want to speculate. I've been listening to the voice note again with the expletives and the person chuckling, or was it, you could say laughing, when they say, "Oh gosh, he dead."
He did.
Is it possible that this is because they themselves knew that the aircraft itself has issues? You know, as Vince mentioned, that's kind of how we respond to things. Like, you see a car and you know the car usually have issues, but you see the car speeding, and if it crashes, like, "Oh boy, he dead," because you know it had issues before. It makes me question that. Or it makes me wonder if it's something that happened mid-air, if it's something that no one could have controlled, or if it was really negligence by the owner of the aircraft.
Boy, this puts people in a sticky situation now, to kind of want to believe, based on what he said, and he works in aviation.
Yeah, and he's not the only one.
And obviously, they would have to do some in-depth investigations. There are people who looked at the photograph of what appeared to be the engine that was recovered and said that ain't looking too right. However, pressure can kind of cause certain things to break apart. So I know nothing about engines. I know
Neither
nothing
do I.
about mechanics. So I'm not gonna say, oh, that looks a little suspect. We're gonna have to wait on the professionals to assess the damages and do a lot of background checks. Um, but if this were the case, I think it brings to light one how I think maybe how do I craft this question? But how does a passenger um know, or should a passenger have to ask? You're playing walking?
No, passenger should not have to ask.
Right, should not have to. So how do I know as a passenger on a plane know that this plane is working properly? I think there are standards, no? When
Should.
you're putting aircraft into the air, that things should be in line and things should be in order. How do I ensure that I am safe? Is the responsibility on the pilot? Is the responsibility on the operator? Is it responsibility on the maintenance, the engineer, the technician? Is the responsibility on the airport? If this person has been accused of operating illegally in the past, how was he able to continue that practice without being held accountable for it? What are the checks and balances in place? So you have to fill out a form before you take off. And you have to check off certain boxes: engine, tuck; wings, tuck; whatever, tuck; weight of the plane, luggage, tuck. Not tuck, tick. Sorry. Sorry, I don't know why I said tuck. Don't ask me.
Because
But
it comes off the thick.
oh, so you mean right?
Yeah,
But yeah, how do we know? And we have several airports. We have one at mainland, we have Bequia, we have Union, Canawan, Musty, Code 5. And there are lots of like private jets and small planes, and some Vincent John's own smaller planes. Are they operating legally? And how do we crack down on the possibility, if it has been happening, how do we stop it from continuing?
So Christal, last week we spoke about protocols regarding the Coast Guard. I
Mhm.
believe that there should have been, or there probably is, there most definitely should be protocols involved in taking off an aircraft, no matter the size. I'm curious, and I'm hoping somebody, an aviation professional, could chime in, maybe on the live, maybe on the WhatsApp 4579997, and let us know exactly what is happening, because it could also be a freak chance that this just happened. Look at what happened in Japan. Look at what happened in the States regarding these planes. So we don't know if it is exactly foul play, but it begs the question, because
Well,
a
not
lot
foul
of
play, but negligence.
negligence. Sorry, thanks. Because a lot of people in Bequia, or people familiar with Mr. Sachs, have been saying that they're not surprised that this happened.
And that's sad.
And yeah, that says a lot.
That's something that should never happen. I'm sorry for whosoever's left to deal with this issue, because I am anticipating a lawsuit.
Yeah.
And I would not give them wrong for doing that, because as a passenger, your expectations are you paid your money. You expect that they're running things in proper order. If they're not, then they will be held accountable. Sadly, the accountability comes at death and a crash. Okay, so that every airplane has a black box. So once they do their examinations, they will reveal the reasons for the crash. Why did this person not contact the relevant authorities? That's another thing too. That's another thing too I find with us. We know certain things, but we don't talk about it, and we don't report certain things, right? And it's not just with this situation here where people are now saying I'm not surprised. It's with like minibuses. You know that van ain't working properly. You know that van had brake problems, but you're still getting into van and not reporting it. You know somebody always breaking into people's houses and you've seen them, you have them on camera, but you don't take it to the police. You know somebody in the village always raping little girls, but you see it and you know it and you have proof, but you don't take it to the authorities. We always know, and it's always after the fact, always something great that happens, not great as in good, but something that blows up and gets into the media. Then people come and say, I always knew. But if you always knew, if you see something, open your mouth and say something. They have different arms of the government that deal with certain things. Go and report it. If it is that you're afraid that, okay, you don't want to be identified, then you can do certain things confidentially and anonymously too. Just report the things in them, man. Wait until after. It's like,
And neither myself or Christal, we're not approaching this topic pretending to be aviation professionals. But questions have to be asked when information like this comes out. We don't know if the engine itself belongs to the plane, but persons are saying that, or persons are speculating that this is the case. So we have to ask the question, which is why I think it is important to have the communications department present in a lot of these ministries, because aviation has its own ministry, does it?
yeah.
Because
civil aviation.
Civil aviation is
I think that's
Carlos
Carlos James, yes.
So it's important to now have a press conference where persons could ask these questions, and maybe they could have answers to these questions, as opposed to the incident happening. Maybe a press release is put out after a while saying, okay, this was the cause, and no questions asked. Nobody knows why he was allowed to fly. If it is negligence was the cause of the crash, we need answers to what had happened, because this time it was a family of 3. Next time, had he survived, and I try my best not to speak ill of the dead, and I hope his family isn't offended by the questioning. But
if it is that you think that the statement is going to be offensive, then probably not.
No, I just putting out a disclaimer, and we have a call, because we are speaking about an incident where the person is now dead.
All right, let's take a call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning to the operators there.
Good morning. Can you speak up a little bit, please, just in case it's not our fault?
Trying to speak loud, but there seems like there's a problem with the phone.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
But I'm hearing a little bit though.
Mm-hmm.
No, as you were speaking about this taking off of planes and so on from airport, seeing that we have 5 airports, sometimes a plane might left Union Island to drop off somebody in the Canawan, Mustake, or even mainland. And by the time the person came off the plane, then they move off again without even checking to see if anything has gone on between that passage from Union Island to St. Vincent or Canawan and so on. So, but seeing that this accident, I think that there should be a check made, as regardless of how many stop you made on the different airports. You should have your plane checked and make sure that it is okay before you move off again. I've observed that several times. I travel on plane. They just drop off a passenger and then they move off it without looking at and check whether the engine or something on the plane and so that it's all right before they move off again. So as you were speaking, that just came to me to say your advice on it.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
All right, take care.
All right.
Good morning to good morning, Owen. How are you this morning? Good morning, Dansford. Good morning, Crumple. Said that's a wild speculation.
I don't see how I made a speculation. I'm asking a question. I'm not presenting it as fact. I'm asking a question.
Remember at the beginning we read a caption that somebody posted online.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Maybe it's
so,
that. Okay.
Yeah, because you have to look at the time that the message comes into. Stop speculating on the aircraft until the investigation is completed, especially using Facebook University for factual information. So the same gentleman made another post following up. I think I have like a minute left.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, this is not meant to encourage speculation, but just to answer some of the questions that are being asked in the wake of this unfortunate aircraft accident in Bequia. 1. Reciprocating aircraft engines are built tough with a redundant ignition system that doesn't need battery power to operate. Number 2, practically speaking, there are only 2 things that can cause an engine to quit: 1, fuel starvation, or 2, water in the fuel. Number 3, takeoff and landing are the most two critical phases of a flight. On takeoff, the aircraft needs all the power that the engine can produce in order to climb. Anything that compromises that spells disaster. If the aircraft is able to get to a safe altitude and the engine quits after that, an experienced pilot can glide the aircraft and land it safely on water, grass, or dirt. Number 4, the only other reason a light aircraft can crash is if there is a loss of pilot control, meaning being unable to maneuver the aircraft. The aircraft has control surfaces which are movable, flaps, rudder, ailerons, and elevator. These are connected by cables to the control column and the yoke, which the pilot holds in his hands. If any of these cables break, the pilot loses control of the aircraft, and only a miracle can save him. If we remember the conversation on Friday, some of the things that he mentioned in this post, D. Eric Williams again, what other persons would have talked about and mentioned. So we learned a lot over the course of the weekend.
Yeah,
3 days.
So just like everybody else, we're waiting on official statement, maybe when the investigation has been concluded, but these questions need to be asked, and I hope that they're able to be asked to the relevant authorities so they could then provide us with the information, because we'd like to know, because a lot of intention travel between the Grenadines via aircraft, and it is scary to know that proper protocols aren't followed if that is the case. But the time is now 8:02 here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and your time check was brought to you by New Haven Funeral Home.